Isn't it about time? How do we control the amount of air that we put into our compost? Timers are most commonly used for aerating compost piles. But how often do we turn the blowers on, and how long are they operating in that time period? Other ways to control aeration include temperature feedback, oxygen content, and variable frequency drives to increase or decrease the amount of air that we're putting into our compost. For 20 years, I've focused on two primary control strategies. The first is using a timer, whether it's a physical timer or a PLC. I normally recommend starting with the blower operating every 30 minutes. However, with some high-energy materials, we need to operate the blower every 15 minutes. And then how long the blower needs to run depends on the blower size, the pile size, and the type of material being composted. The second, and my preferred way of controlling aeration, is a combination of timer and temperature feedback. With this combination, there are two ways the blower starts. The first is the timer. It's always functioning and providing oxygen to optimize microbial activity. The second is temperature feedback. When the temperature in the compost reaches a set point, say 65 degrees Celsius, the blower turns on until the temperature reaches the lower set point, say 63 degrees Celsius. There are three reasons why I like this control method. First, it's relatively simple. Second, I have to monitor temperatures anyways to meet regulatory requirements. And third, it optimizes microbial activity. I'll describe this control system more in a future video. I've had questions. Why don't you use variable frequency drives, otherwise known as VFDs? You can ramp up the blowers as the compost needs more air rather than the hard starts or stops. We tried this more than 20 years ago with one of our first composting projects. There are three things to think about using VFDs. First, VFD controls are much more expensive. Secondly, we've had blowers turn on and off every 30 minutes for over 15 years using simple contactors, and they're still working just fine. And third, I prefer to pressurize the air pipes to optimize air distribution. But what about using oxygen to control the aeration? I talk about the importance of oxygen for the microbes, so why don't we use oxygen as a control mechanism? There are four things to think about with controlling blowers using oxygen. First, oxygen probes for continuous monitoring are very expensive and prone to fail, especially in high ammonia environments. Second, oxygen changes much more rapidly both in time and in space than temperature, making it more difficult to have meaningful control. Third, I measure and record temperature for regulatory purposes already. And fourth, I can use my oxygen monitor to verify oxygen concentrations, so I don't need to monitor it constantly. In the next video, I will demonstrate how to set and operate a timer-controlled aeration system. I will use information from one of our recent compost operator training sessions. Following that will be a video profiling a new aeration control system using timer and temperature feedback, wireless probes, and a data management system that I'm really excited about. My name is John Paul. I'm a soil scientist and waste management specialist. Thank you.